It's 4 p.m. and we're bringing you the developing news.
And the stories behind the headlines. This is Storycon. I'm Angela Lagusad Castro.
And I'm Diego Castro. Some stories we're watching the first Monday of the new month, August 3rd. The Sandigan Bayan has denied the prosecution's request to remove former Public Works Secretary Manuel Bonoan as an accused in a graft case linked to the flood control scam. The anti-graft court said the request can still be pursued at the appropriate stage of the proceedings. The prosecution earlier sought to exclude Bonoan so he could serve as a state witness. In the meantime, the Sandigan Bayan entered a not guilty plea for Senator Rodante Marcoleta after he refused to enter one for the charge of violating Presidential Decree Number 46. PD 46 prohibits public officials from receiving gifts. Marcoleta's lawyer invoked a pending petition before the Supreme Court challenging the Ombudsman's resolution in the case. The senator's co-accused, Aristotel Viray, pled not guilty to the same charge. At the impeachment court, the prosecution panel presented former COA Auditor Roderick Wamil on day 11 of the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Wamil conducted the post-audit of confidential funds of the OVP and the Education Department from 2022 to 2023, or when Sara headed both agencies. He testified that his audit found several alleged violations of COA rules, including a financial plan that he said did not comply with the requirements of the applicable joint circular. He also testified that about 40 million pesos in confidential funds was used for medical and food assistance, while payments to informants were not supported by documents showing successful surveillance or information gathering activities.
In other news, labor groups staged a protest outside the Department of Labor and Employment Central Office on Monday. That's to oppose the Temporary Restraining Order, or TRO, on the implementation of the 85 peso daily wage hike in Metro Manila. DOLE Secretary Francis Tolentino met with the protesters and said the department has sent lawyers to the Pasig Regional Trial Court to challenge the order. Meantime, the Federation of Free Workers, the Workers and Peasants Party, Kamanggagawa Party List, and other Nag-Kaisa Labor Coalition affiliates filed an urgent motion to intervene before the same RTC. The groups are seeking the immediate lifting of the TRO on the NCR wage hike. Transport groups also staged a protest outside the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, earlier in the day. They are urging the government to approve a fare hike amid high diesel prices. The LTFRB said it will submit a recommendation to the Department of Transportation this week on a possible provisional fare hike while petitions are under review. Meantime, the Department of Energy said pump prices will decrease on Tuesday by 70 centavos per liter for gasoline, 60 centavos for diesel, and 2 pesos for kerosene.
Meralco says it will comply with the Energy Regulatory Commission's directive to implement a 9.5 billion peso refund to customers over a 6-month period. In a statement, Meralco Senior Vice President and Regulatory Management Head Jose Ronald Valles said the company supports government efforts to provide relief to consumers and ensure that they benefit from approved refunds in a timely and transparent manner. He added the refund will appear as a separate line item in electricity bills, allowing customers to see the amount being returned. Residential customers are expected to receive a refund of about 58 centavos per kilowatt hour, or around 117 pesos for a household using 200 kilowatt hours a month. In the meantime, economist Alex Escucha said eliminating all system loss charges, including the value-added tax, would be a bad idea. Another economist, Nonoy Opla, said the focus should be on reducing system losses rather than eliminating the charge.
And to be fair to the president, he did not say remove. He just demanded the review of the ITIRA law, which is the correct statement to make. It's a bad idea to simply say remove all system loss charges.
We will have nationwide blackout.
Oh.
Yeah, nationwide blackout because you need the both private distribution utilities and electric company need continued capitalization in order to improve the facilities. That's why it's very dangerous to remove the system loss.
Weather, Tropical Depression Luis has maintained its strength as it moves over the sea. It was last spotted over the coastal waters of Palanan, Isabela, packing winds of 45 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 60 kilometers per hour. Luis may make landfall or pass close to northern Luzon tonight or early morning tomorrow. It is forecast to remain as tropical depression and may be downgraded into a remnant low by Wednesday. As of 11 a.m., signal number 1 is up over parts of Luzon. Take a look at your screens now for the full list.
Alright, joining us today is Storycon's resident political pundit and so-called political genius. Sabi nila. Naawa kasi ako sa...
Dalai Llamas.
Lagi kami napagalitan. The Dalai Llamas of politics. Oh, di ba?
Napaubo.
Sincerely napaubo si Sec Ronald dyan.
Parang sarcastic remark yun eh.
Parang hindi mo naramdaman yung sincerity, no?
Oo walang principal na yan, mabait ko.
Medyo,
Kami muna kasama mo today, okay lang ba?
Oo nga,
Okay lang naman. Sino pa kasama natin?
Wala kayong dossier pa sa akin eh.
Ako
Di ba,
mahirap.
hindi kita papagalitan.
Mahirap to.
From the Philippine Star, we have Editor-in-Chief Abby Pamintuan. Good afternoon, Ma'am Abby.
Hi, Angela. Hi, Diego. And hi, naku, Ronald. Ngayon ka lang tinawag na genius, ah.
Oo nga.
Hi,
Agree ba
everybody.
Napaubo nga
Agree ba
ako eh.
kayo,
Happy
Ma'am
week.
Ami?
Napaubo nga ako ron eh.
Baka na po rin si Ma'am Ami eh. No?
Kaya nga daw ngayon lang daw siya.
Ngayon lang daw yan.
May magpoprotesta dyan na tinawag kang genius.
Marami.
Baka bukas mag-rally rito sa harapan.
May gusto ko,
Parang sa Department of Labor may
Anong
nag-rally.
klaseng genius
gusto
daw
ko
ba?
tignan yung mga comments mamaya eh. Kung anong sinasabi nila.
Yari ka, Diego.
Uy, no. Go.
Before we start our banter here, mapapanood po tayo ngayon sa Signal and napapakinggan din tayo sa 105.9 True FM.
Yun.
Miss Ami, ano ba ang headline sa Philippine Star?
Kanina binabantayan natin lahat yung yung impeachment. Any surprises there? Any big surprises, Ronald?
Ang araw kasi ngayon, mas ang focus nila, yung shift sa financial reports, tax records, audit reports. So, significant shift ito mula dun sa unang article na tinalakay tungkol sa grave threats. Dahil yung grave threats, karamihan dun mga testimonies Dito, mas documentary evidence ang basihan. Hindi ko nga sigurado kung ipapatawag nila yung mga controversial witnesses katulad ni Madriaga, katulad ni Colonel Achica. Mukhang ang focus dito, at least indication na today, ay itong mga documentary evidence.
At saka na-highlight din dito, Miss Ami and Sec Ronald, yung lagi ko itong tinatanong din doon sa mga nagigest sa amin sa iba't ibang show, kung ano yung business ng Office of the Vice President na magkaroon ng confidential funds.
Yung kinikwento mo sa akin kanina.
Sabi nga ni COA Wamil,
Wamil.
Roderick Wamil.
simula nung nagsimula siya noong 2014 na in charge dito sa auditing ng confidential fund, ay kay Vice President Sara lang siya nakakita ng confidential fund.
Yes.
Kay Vice President Binay, Vice President Leni Robredo, wala naman. At lalo na doon sa DepEd.
Oo.
Nakikwento ko nga kay Diego kanina, kahit nung panahon namin, mismo yung National Security Advisor na in charge sa lahat ng intelligence agencies, ay nung nagsimula kami, walang intelligence fund. At later na lang, sa middle na lang yata nung term ni Pinoy, nagkaroon ng intelligence fund at napakaliit. Baryang-barya kumpara dito.
Pero in nature ba, allowed ba ang OVP magkaroon ng hindi intelligence yung confidential funds ang pag-usapan natin? Kasi parang subcategory yun eh.
Yes, hindi ko alam yung technicalities dyan. Pero alam ko, pwede ka naman mag-request. No? Pero ito,
Ayun nga sinasabi nila, ibinigyan daw naman siya Parang these irregularities would have not happened kung hindi siya binigyan ng...
So kasalanan na nagbigay.
Oo, kasalanan na nagbigay.
Di ba, Ma'am Ami?
Pinagbibigay na regalo
Congress yun,
talaga.
oo. Ang confidential is only for civilian agencies.
Yes.
Pero ayan, pinambili daw pati ng medicine. Kasama pa yung confidential, saka puro wala daw resibo.
And
At saka
tables and
furnitures.
chairs.
Saka furnitures.
Tables and chairs.
Reward medicine ang tawag doon, di ba? Bakit reward medicine?
Oo, kaya nga sabi nila, is there anything confidential about furnitures, about
Yes.
groceries, about medicines,
Ayan.
no? Medyo malaki yung ginamit doon Ibang usapin pa yung mga awards.
Yes.
Oo.
Parang hindi rin nakaspecify yung awards no? Wala man lang breakdown. Ang sarap naman nabigyan ng award.
And I remember
Dapat
even
may
before...
reason.
Opo. And even before pa magsimula itong impeachment trial, pinag-uusapan din yung safe houses na parang nirentahan nila. Kaya isa yun sa dahilan ba't naubos yung confidential funds ng DepEd in just 11 days. So parang anong purpose nung safe houses para sa Department of Education?
Paglagyan ng furniture.
Hindi, para yung mga espiya ay magpapatuloy maging magaling na espiya kung yung hotel o yung safe house nila ay worth 200,000 a night.
Grabe yun, di ba? Oo.
Grabe.
Kaya nga yung sinasabi...
Baka may honey trap din na kasama yon.
Naku, iba pa yung honey trap na issue na yan, ha? Pero dun muna tayo
Yung
sa
honey trap,
impeachment.
pinatawag na ng NBIC, si Congressman
De
De Viste, saka si Jacinto Paras. Pinatawag na. Yan.
Oo, kasi may mga accusation kasi for context lang para sa public, may accusations kasi nung nahuli yung supposedly talent manager, willing siya
Tagalog,
mag-testify.
bugaw.
Pero pinagsosyal ba talent? Di naman lahat ng talent manager bugaw. Kayo talaga. Ma'am Ami,
Hindi naman libelous yun. Hindi naman libelous.
Oo.
Ganun naman talaga tawag sa mga ganun, pimp. Ganun.
Anyway.
Sabi ko, Honey
They
Potter.
manage talents. Right. Honey trap.
Ibang talents lang.
Honey
Ibang
Potter.
talent.
Honey pot.
Honey
Pwede.
pot, maganda.
Honey Pot Trap. Honey Potter.
Honey Potter pala tawag doon.
Well, wala daw siya, sabi daw ni Congressman Levisa, wala daw siya pakailam sa pambababae. Yes, ano.
Wala daw
The
siyang
plot
kinala-
thickens.
Wala daw siya kinalaman sa pambabae.
Pero may testimony yata yung bugaw, yung talent manager.
Talent manager.
Honey Potter.
Mismong babae.
Honey Potter na
talent.
lang, yan. Honey
Mismo
Potter.
yung babae na talent, may testimony yata sila. Diyan. Pero, kanya parang yung kaso ni Mike Defensor, human trafficking na may prostitution, non-bailable yun.
Yes.
Diba? Non-bailable.
Well, titignan natin kung ano yung magiging takbo ng investigation na yan, di ba?
Pero nung panahon kasi namin ng mga bata kami, nababalitaan namin yung honey trap between CIA at KGB.
Talaga.
Yung spy versus spy yan yung pinapainan mo.
Ah.
Tapos ang tawag ng compromat or compromising,
Compromising
situation para
situation.
hawak mo, kontrolado mo yung spiya.
Oo.
May
Yung mga
nagkaroon ng-
napapanood natin yan sa mga
sine,
ano,
sa
sa
sine.
sine.
Nagkaroon ng movie yan, Spy versus Spy.
Law and Order, ganyan.
Yan.
Di ba? Oo. Okay, sige, bago natin ipagpatuloy ang ating mga pinag-uusapan dito. It is day 11 of the Duterte impeachment trial ended today after the direct examination of former State Auditor Roderick Wangil. Mobile journalist Arles de los Santos is reporting live from the Senate.
Arles, alam mo ba kung ano ibig sabihin ng honey trap?
Oh, Honey Trap, Honey Potter, Arles.
Baka naman si Winnie the Pooh yung alam
Si Winnie the Pooh lang. So far, si Winnie the Pooh lang yung nasa isip ko pag naririnig ko yung honey.
Honey trap.
Honey
Ganun ka-innocent talaga si Arles, no?
Sobrang innocent pa yan. Sige, Arles.
Sige na, Arles.
Highlights na lang ng paglilitis. Baka kung saan pa mapunta tong usapan natin.
Yes, Angela, Diego, Ami at Ronald. Ngayon nga ang ika-11 araw na impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte ay nag-focus nga sa mga dokumento at mga acknowledgement receipts ang prosekusyon kung saan nga ipresenta nila yung ilan sa mga kontrobersyal na mga pangalan. Nalaman na natin kung magkano yung umano'y ibinigay kay Meregis Piatos na nasa 70,000 pesos nga na bilang rewards daw pero in form of a medicine. Gayon din si Renan Piatos, maging sina Andy Lim at yung iba pa na pikit yung mga apelyedo, and kanina nakita naman natin kung paano nga yan ipresenta ng prosekusyon kung saan yung defense ay nagkaroon ng pagtutol dahil tila daw nilalagyan ito ng kulay yung kanilang presentasyon, particular nga si lead prosecutor Lorna Kapunan kung saan so far nag-proceed naman yung kanyang mga pagpepresenta, pero kanina ay nakita natin na may mga hindi in-stipulate na mga dokumento ang defense team ni Vice President Sara Duterte, particular dito yung ilan nga sa mga confidential funds na nagamit daw or binuksan, no? So far, yung dito nakita natin na may ilan silang hindi tinanggap, kagaya na lamang yung kung ilang araw nga lang nagastos yung umano'y 11 days lang na paggastos ng 125 million pesos na confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President, no? Ayon kay Attorney Powa, yung dahilan nila bakit hindi sila nag-stipulate doon mayroon daw kasi silang ibang paliwanag diyan at hindi nga nila basta-basta pwedeng tanggapin, no? Maging yung aabot nga sa 3,000 to 4,000 na mga dokumento na loose, ayon kay POA, loose at hindi nila basta-basta na pwedeng i-stipulate, no? Tinanong din natin kung ano yun sa tingin nila na nakita sa pagpili ng mga pangalan, kung ano-ano mga acknowledgement receipts yung ipinakita, pero ayon kay POA ay estratehiya daw yan ng prosekusyon kaya hindi nila pwede napigilan, pero nakahanda naman sila na mag-cross-examine para bigyang linaw yung kanilang mga posisyon dito nga sa mga acknowledgement receipts maging sa mga teknikalidad ng Commission on Audit at ang mga utos nito.
Arles, yung isang kasi naging word of the day dito, yung reward na medicine. Punta tayo kay Mary Grace Piatos, ha. Itong sinasabing amount, I think it's 70 or 80,000 para sa medicine, di ba? Tama ba yun?
Yes,
ano yung period
tama,
covered
Jack.
niyan? Yung amount na yun, ano yung period na covered supposedly?
So far, Diego, yung kay Mary Grace Piatos, no, ay December 20, 2022. Meron naman yung isa pa kay Renan Piatos, December 21 to 31, December 21, 2022, 23 na pumasok yan, pero dapat daw December 2022 pa, no? So 12 months daw na delayed yung paglalabas ng acknowledgement receipts dyan, no? Gayon din kay Nova Santos na
Yes.
binigay naman, no, noong December 31, 2023, maging din yung kay Janice Revilla na December 31, 2023 na yung AR, pero yung natanggap niya daw na 150,000 pesos for the purchase of information ay dapat na doon sa period of disbursement na December 23, 2022.
Well-
ang Ozempic ba classified as medicine?
Oo, gamot yun.
Diba?
Pero
Tanong lang.
Hindi kasi yung kay
Paano
Mary
ba?
Grace.
Medyo mahal Medyo mahal yung...
pang ano yun pang may
Oo.
diabetes.
Hindi, pero Arles, di ba yung kay Mary Grace, one day lang halos yung period covered, di ba? Yung kay Mary Grace
Yes.
lang, ha? Oh,
Isa
one
lang.
day. So 70, 80,000, mahal na gamot yan.
Paano yung mga Ozempic? Mga 7,000, 8,000 yata per week.
Hindi 10 pen na yung Ozempic.
Well, Orles, kanina nga napakadami daw ng mga acknowledgement receipts, 845 acknowledgement receipts yung pinag-uusapan, pero the impeachment court allowed the prosecution to present and allowed the witness to, comment lang doon sa summary nito. At sinasabi nga nung naging witness kanina na former state auditor na si Roderick Wamil, ay itong mga acknowledgement receipts na ito ay walang mga proper documentation o documentary evidence. Ano ba yung nakikita ng isang COA auditor, state auditor na maaaring magbigay ng halaga doon sa acknowledgement receipts? Ano yung mga documentary evidences na yun?
So far, Angela, no, sa kanyang isinagawang post-audit nito ni Roderick Wamil mula dati sa COA, no, ay inisa-isa niya yung umano'y mga violation na nakita niya base sa mga isinumiteng liquidation documents ng OVP. Ang mga violation na ito ay kanya namang ibinangga, no, doon sa joint circular na pinagbasihan ng audit. Ayan yung inilabas noong 2015 kung saan yung joint circular ay para sa DBM, DILG at maging sa other relevant agencies, no? Isa na dyan yung disbursement confirmation of funds na based on financial plan ay hindi raw nila nakita yung specific configuration ng activities na kung pagbabasihan yung disbursement o yung kanilang financial plan ay di compliant doon nga sa requirement ng joint circular, no? Napansin din daw ni Wamil na base sa liquidation report ang pondong 125 million pesos na para sana sa fourth quarter ng 2022 na sakop ng October to December 2024 ay nagamit lamang sa loob ng 11 araw from December 21 to 31, no? So napansin nila yung mga financial advance or financial plan Pero for the fourth quarter ng 2022, ayun nga, no, yung nabanggit natin kanina na disperse na siya fourth quarter na ng December 2023. No? Maging yung mga isinumitingang accomplishment report ng OVP ay hindi rin daw nakasaad sa mismong detalye ng confidential activities kung saan ginamit ang cash advance. At yun, nakita nga natin kanina na prinesenta doon sa impeachment court kung ano-ano nga lang ba yung mga pwedeng paggamitan ng mga confidential at intelligence funds, no? At doon nakita naman natin yung mga impormasyon, yung for transportation, yung pag-hold sa or safe houses ng mga resource persons or mga agents, no? Pero hindi daw diyan kabahagi yung mga nakita natin naman kanina na mga tables and chairs, maging yung mga desktop, and yun nga, pati daw yung mga kumot.
Arles, hindi ko nasundan mabuti kanina eh. Yung pagkatapos nila mag-break, hindi ko na nasundan eh. Masabi ba niya kung ano yung sinagot ng OVP? Kasi matagal na nilang hinihingi yung impormasyon na yan eh.
Arles? Oo, check lang natin ulit yung
Parang nag-freeze
signal.
siya, oo.
Oo. We'll try to get back Arles for those who just tuned in. Arles is live in the Senate, no. Siya po ay nagbibigay ng mga highlights ng pagdilitis ngayong araw. But going back to the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, it's also good to note na I think wala pa yung tinatawag nilang fiscal financial plan, no?
Wala
Kung
pa.
saan nakalista yung mga programa na ano ba yung confidential fund, ano ba yung layon noon, ano ba yung goal ng confidential funds na yon. Wala pa yung mga sinasabing physical aspects na at yung mga informants at magkano yung budget allocated. Kasi makikita daw nila doon sa fiscal financial plan na yon kung meron man yung
meron.
Office of the Vice President.
Siguro mahalaga maibunggo eh. Yung matrix ng circular order ng COA.
Yes.
2015-01.
Oo.
Tapos yung report ng OVP para makita ano ba yung discrepancy. No? Kung naka-matrix kasi mas madaling maunawaan.
Totoo yun. Pero balikan na natin si Arles. Okay na yata yung signal niya. Ma'am Ami, yung question niyo po.
Arles, narinig mo ba yung nag-break up lahat ng Shopee lahat ng natin?
Actually,
narinig mo ba
Shopee
yung
nga.
tanong ko kanina?
Pwede pa ulit, Ami, para sigurado tayo.
Oo. Hindi ko lang kasi nasundan, hindi ko natapos yung hearing kanina eh. Natanong ba kung kung nakasagot if ever, matagal nang hinihingi ng COA sa OVP yung mga explanation for those yan ang red flag siya eh. Doon sa kanilang confidential fund utilization. Sumagot ba OVP?
Ang alam natin, Ami, no, merong hiningi or ini-issue, no, na AOM na tinatawag yung Commission on Audit, no, na sinubukan daw na i-serve sa OVP ang naturang AOM pero wala raw kasi no opisyal na pwedeng tumanggap nito. Gayunman nagpadala ang OVP ng revised accomplishment report kung saan nakasaad ang pinagamitan ng umano'y mga confidential funds, no. Pero kahit sa revised accomplishment report, may nakita pa rin daw na butas ang Commission on Audit, no. May mga pinagamitan daw kasi ng pera na hindi allowed para sa confidential funds, no. Kasama yung 40 million pesos na halaga ng medical at food aid. Ganyan din yung pagbabayad ng incentive sa informant dahil wala raw itong kalakip na patunay na naging successful ang surveillance o intel gathering. And kabukod dun, Ami, nakita rin natin kanina, no, na narinig natin na at least based on our research na ito ay patuloy pa din na kino-contest ng Office of the Vice President, no. I believe last year, sometime last year, or parang this House Justice Committee hearing, parang may 73 million pesos na pinababalik yung COA, pero meron pang appeal yung Office of the Vice President, at kaiba pa ito doon sa usapan ng confidential at intelligence funds ng Department of Education o DepEd.
Pero di ba, Arles, kaya nga may notice of disallowance na more than 73 million ay dahil nga yung sagot ng OVP ay kapos dun sa hinihingi ng COA. Yun yung dahilan kaya meron kang notice of disallowance.
Pero so far kasi, Ronald, yun ay appealable. Pwede pa silang sumagot doon, no, at humingi ng consideration and yung compliance doon nga, no. Kaya yung before na yung ngayon 73 million na lang, 125 million yun dati, no? And the way we see it, may mga na-comply, kaya bumaba ng 73 million pesos, but still, it's still in appeal. And the way we look at it, baka yun yung posible na tumbukin ng defense team kapag sila na yung na-cross-examine sa mga witnesses ng prosekusyon na nagmula naman sa Commission on Audit. Kasi syempre, nagpapatuloy pa yung kanilang pag-upo dito at wala pang final and other decisions on the matter, specifically for their appeal, no? So, marami pa pwedeng mangyari dito at maging tugon ang defense ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
Well, linawin lang natin, Arles, hindi 125 million yung notice of disallowance.
Hindi.
Yun yung total na nakuha eh. Ang notice of
yung-
disallowance
yung,
ay yung 73
budget
million lang.
per quarter.
No? Yung 73 million lang. At taon na yan, ha? Taon na yung kanilang
Tagal na.
appeal. Taon na yan. Kaya wala yan. Either long overdue na or baka as soonest sasagutin na yan. Dahil mahaba na yung panahon eh. Taon na.
Yes. Kaya yun yung posibleng inaasahan natin dito, Ronald, no? Yung patungkol doon sa 73 million, may posibilidad na ito rin yung tumbukin ng defense team na meron na sila na appeal for this, no? And wala pang desisyon sa ngayon. So aabangan pa rin natin yan.
Pero may idea ka ba, Arles, kung tutumbukin ng defense team to, part of cross-examination or ipe-present nila to sa pag-turn na nila?
Hindi pa natin makukumpirma yan, Diego. Yung latest lang kasi dito sa COA audit reports at decisions yung ating pinagbasehan, no, na still may ongoing pa. So like any other cases, kagaya na kapag may ongoing pa, sasabihin na baka may conclusion of facts o may mga reservation at kailangan pang linawin muna bago talakayin yung topic. Pero nung tinanong natin si Attorney Michael Powa kanina, syempre naghahanda naman sila for cross-examination. No? At doon natin malalaman kung bakit sila hindi nag-stipulate sa iba pang mga dokumento at ano yung kanilang posisyon doon nga sa umunoy questionable na paggamit ng confidential funds ng Office of the Vice President.
Well, Arles, para lang malinaw sa publiko, no? Kasi nga kanina, nung kakastart pa lang nung trial, nagkaroon na agad ng request from the defense na magkaroon ng 5-minute break na it turned out parang mas mahaba pa sa 5 minutes. Ano,
30.
dahil doon sa sinasabi ng stipulation of evidence. Ano, para lang mas malinaw sa publiko, ano ba yung nangyari doon? Hindi ba dapat nung pre-trial pa naayos na yung usapin na yun?
So far, ang nangyari daw doon, ayon kay Attorney Powa, ay they just compared the documents, no? And yung prosecution daw kasi ay hinihiling sa kanila na stipulate na yung kanilang mga dokumento na ipepresenta nga sa Senate Impeachment Court, no? Pero ang ginawa nila kasi nung pinagkumpara, no, ay merong linya or latag ng mga acknowledgement receipts yung prosecution and may kanya ring or separate na acknowledgement receipts din yung defense team ni Vice President Sara Duterte, no? Kaya hindi sila basta-basta pumayag na mag-stipulate, no? Kaya mas mahaba nga raw talaga yon. And paglilinaw nila na lahat daw ng mga dokumento ay na-mark, no? May mga ilang bagay lang sila na hindi nag-agree on certain facts, kagaya na nabanggit natin kanina, yung 11 araw lang daw na nagamit yung confidential funds ng OVP noong December 2022.
Yun ang 845 documents, no, Arles?
Yes, 845 documents yung hindi nila in-stipulate.
Okay.
Arles, may
Arles,
ilang
may-
break yan, ano? Na hindi namin nakita. Wala bang fireworks in between? Yung mga hindi namin nakikita sa TV,
Oo.
Yung mga senador o yung mga prosecutor at saka yung
May mga
mga
nag-iirapan ba?
defense.
Oh, Senator
Well, ang
Lacson,
narinig
Senator
natin,
Quezon.
Ami, ay meron daw Senator Judge na nahuli ulit sa impeachment trial ngayong araw, but hindi tayo yung nakaupo doon mismo sa plenary ng Senado. So hindi natin kilala kung sino yan, no? And other than that, wala namang Senator Judge yung nakapag-interject ngayong araw, no? And more on presentation pa lang talaga ng witness for the part of the prosecution.
Arles, wala bang indication na ipapatawag si Madriaga or si Colonel La Chica sa mga susunod na mga araw? Dahil ang sabi kasi ng prosecution, hindi pa final yung kanilang desisyon kung sino ipapatawag ng mga witnesses.
Yeah.
Diyan ba walang indication?
So far, dito Ronald, wala pa, no? At kailangan pa natin abangan yung paggulong ng presentasyon ng prosecution for their part, no? Kasi at least for the part naman ng defense, malayo-layo pa yung kanilang hihintayin bago sila makapagpresenta ng mga testigo. At syempre, kung kahit si Madriaga mismo ang umano'y self-confessed bagman nga ni Vice President Sara Duterte ay kanila ring ipatatawag. Pero ngayon, meron na itong reklamong perjury na inihain nga ni Vice President Sara Duterte months ago. So baka, hindi, baka oo. So aabangan natin yan.
So, Arles, may possibility na si Madriaga could be yung with reservation na witness. Kasi di ba with reservation, unnamed yun eh.
Yes, unnamed. Pero at least for the part ng prosecution, ayaw nila na ma-telegraph yung kanilang susunod na hakbang.
Okay.
Kaya wala pa tayong makukuhang kumpirmasyon dyan sa ngayon.
Well, ang tinitignan ko dito na medyo nahuli lang daw after the roll call dumating ay sila Senators Mark Villar, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and Senator Bongo. Sila yung dumating after the roll call.
Nako, Arles, yari ka. But, Arles, wait, speaking of yung nahuli sa roll call, ilan ba ang in attendance kanina? I think last week 19, di ba?
Parang kanina ang narinig natin, parang nasa 15 naman na ata kanina,
15.
Diego, yung roll call. But we will throw back kasi ang dami na ring information na pumasok sa atin. No? Pero ayun, so far, nakabuo naman ng quorum kanina.
Pero,
Arles,
paano
anong feedback
buo?
mo?
Say, go
Sabi
ahead.
nila, ceasefire daw ceasefire dyan sa Senado. Feeling mo ba meron na nga ceasefire?
Ami kanina mula alas 10 alas 10 hanggang alas 12:30 ng hapon, no. Impeachment trial lang yung napag-usapan, no. So far walang senator judges na nagsalita naman, so wala tayong nakita na mood from their part at least, no. And ngayon sa pagsisimula ng sesyon ng Senado, titignan natin kung ceasefire nga ba at mayroon nga ba niyan, no. Kasi syempre pinaalalahanan na ni Presiding Officer Jesus Escudero na yung mga matters na specifically for impeachment ay sa impeachment court lamang pag-uusapan at yung mga bagay na kalabas dito sa impeachment trial mas mabuti na sa sesyon ng Senado bilang legislative body ito pag-usapan.
Very quick na lang, Arles. So tomorrow, sino na yung mga witness na makakausap o may examine ng prosecution?
Ang Angela, tuloy pa din na si Roderick Wamil yung haharap para sa pagpapatuloy ng presentation ng prosekusyon dito nga sa kanilang testigo, no. At susunod ay isa pang empleyado ng Commission on Audit pero still on the technical side sa paggamit pag-liquidate rather ng confidential funds ng OVP at ng DepEd, pero possibly baka later, the afternoon na yan bukas, o kung hindi naman ay sa Miyerkules na yan.
Okay.
Ang alam ko lang kasi walang ceasefire. Lalo na between Ping Lacson and Alan Peter. Walang ceasefire yon. Medyo matumal lang ngayon dahil nga mga dokumento yung pinag-uusapan ngayon ang tinatanggap as evidence. Kaya wala masyadong fireworks dyan. No? Prima facie na tax records, na auditors reports, at saka mga bank accounts yung tinatanggap nila, 15 kahon yata yan.
Oo, 15
Yes,
confidential
15 kahon.
fund
Kaya wala masyadong
boxes.
kwan dyan, wala masyadong away. Pero yung ceasefire, in fairness kay Senator Ping Lacson, ay walang ceasefire.
Wala.
Tuloy ang
Wala
tuloy
raw.
ang gera sa Strait of Hormuz.
Basta yan, outside
Wala man
the
daw nag-alok ng
impeachment court.
ceasefire eh.
Hindi daw yun ang ginamit na salita ni Alan Peter, sabi niya. Hindi daw ceasefire.
Naniniwala kayo doon, sabi
Truce
niya.
ang ginamit niya.
Ayun.
Okay. Walang ceasefire pero may truce. Okay.
Alright, sige. Maraming salamat sa ating mobile journalist, Arles de los Santos. Thank you, Arles.
Thanks, Arles.
Salamat.
Also joining us today is Attorney Paula Tamase, Constitutional Law Professor from the UP College of Law. Attorney, welcome back to Storycon. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Attorney.
Attorney, di ba attorney, kung din kayo, Assistant Dean ng UP Law School?
Opo, na-associate din po ng
Associate din
UP
pala.
Law. Opo.
Alright, so of course yung nangyari po kanina na Day 11 ng impeachment trial ni VP Sara Duterte, ano po yung mga nakita nyo po doon somehow na nakita nyo pong take away doon sa nangyaring impeachment kanina?
I think yung pinaka-important is na ipasok na ng prosecution yung parang next chapter doon sa usapin doon sa confidential fund. So last day 10 last week, napakita naman kasi nila na nagkaroon ng withdrawals, and yung defense wasn't questioning the fact na there were withdrawals and the amount na withdraw. But yung question kasi is, ano yung pera na iyon, where did it go, or where did it not go? And I think clear from the presentation today so far, with the caveat na hindi pa kasi tapos yung presentation, medyo malinaw naman na there were that corresponded to the confidential funds of the Vice President, na yung funds na yun were investigated by the COA, and that in the course of the investigation there were certain irregularities that we're starting to see right now.
So, Attorney, do you think that the witnesses so far present for this new article were competent enough to establish yung groundwork na gusto i-lay down ng prosecution team? Kasi sinabi ni Senator Lacson, so far he hasn't seen any competent witnesses.
Yes, I think competent. The Commission on Audit, we have to remember, is the central auditing agency of government, and alam nila in terms of both the rules and actual practice, how to detect potentially irregular, unfavorable, excessive transactions in government. And yung mga unreasonable na labas ng pera, unreasonable na transactions, trabaho talaga nila to detect that. But before they get to that substantive question, ang unang-una kasi nilang titignan is compliant daw with the circulars of the DBM and the COA and the existing rules yung labas ng pera. And that itself, especially the amount involved, na might raise serious red flags and the potential unfitness of a public officer if hindi niya kaya ma-manage yung funds, especially confidential funds, na dapat for a very specific purpose. So, in terms of planting those seeds, important yung witness today. The witness today was quite competent. The hope, at least probably for the prosecution, is that they will be able to sustain in the next few days yung narrative na to. Kasi it's just so far part of a much larger story of where the money went or where did it not go, which is equally important.
Well, given what you said, Attorney, then they establish unusual methods of withdrawal, cash, and saka yung laki ng amount, and the red flags sa auditing and liquidation. Do they need to prove exactly kung saan napunta yung pera, or from the actual recipients mismo, kailangan sila magsabi?
Look, if this were a court case, a legal case in court, maybe not, kasi you would meet certain requirements under RA 13, 19, yung elements, for example, for certain acts of graft and corruption. Baka mahit nyo na. But this is not a normal criminal case or a regular crime case, and hindi unreasonable, or you can understand why the average Filipino will probably ask na, ano ngayon kung nagkaroon ng mistake, or ano ngayon kung nagkaroon ng lapse in procedure, asan pumunta yung pera? So yun, doon lagi pupunta yung question nung ordinary na mamamayan. And I know that sounds unfair to the prosecution, diba? Kasi kung criminal case nga, di baka napatunayan na nila kahit papaano yung elements. But that's really the office of impeachment. Ang ina-assess naman natin is not so much whether the Vice President violated auditing rules, but whether she could still be trusted with public office because of these violations, among others. So, medyo mataas yung, whether we like it or not, mataas yung expectation on the part of the prosecution. And while I think they may be able to shift or create a narrative na they do not need to show na meron na exactly irregularity na nangyari in terms of the money went to either a non-entity or a ghost entity, whether we like it or not, parang the public will probably want to, and mas compelling yung case certainly if makita kung saan talaga pumunta yung pera.
Attorney, yung defense hindi nag-stipulate ng 845 documents. Ang sabi nila, mapapabilis yung proceedings because of that. Pero ano ba talaga ang magiging significance nun dyan sa case?
Well, I think una po, kailangan natin kilalanin na ano naman, objectively, trabaho talaga ng defense yun. And prerogative ng defense, whether they will stipulate or agree to a proposed stipulation. Kaya ang tawag lang din is request for stipulation or proposed stipulation on the part of the prosecution. And I think to their credit, they agreed to 10 of the 15 boxes, more or less, according to Attorney Kapunan earlier. Malaki na yun na nabawas. But hindi sila pumayag notably doon sa acknowledgement receipts. Now, of course, others have pointed out that yung acknowledgement receipts na yun, galing naman talaga sila sa Vice President or sa OVP. So, why didn't they accept? It could be a couple of things. Una, baka they want more time kasi critical yung ebidensya na to. They want more time to assess whether or not itong documents nga ito are authentic. It's also possible that ayaw naman nila masyadong padaliin yung kaso ng prosecution by agreeing to this particular piece of evidence. I think ultimately though ang resolution, I don't know if people caught it. The prosecution cited a rule in the rules on evidence that, if I recall correctly, Rule 130, Section 3C, no, in relation to Section 7, which says na if voluminous yung records involved, so may book of accounts, etc., hindi na kailangan ipakita yung original. Enough na for the prosecution or the defense, if they were the one doing this, to present a summary or schedule of those transactions and then bigyan lang ng opportunity yung other side and the court, in this case the Senate, to peruse the original documents if they had any doubts on the correctness of the summary. So it's a one way of avoiding that larger prolonged presentation of the 800 documents.
Attorney, alam naman natin na may isang court na medyo invisible dito sa impeachment process na ito, the Court of Public Opinion. At sa panahon ng social media, ay napakahalaga yung performative aspect dito sa impeachment. Pero itong phase na ito ay nag-shift yung prosecution from testimonies to documentary evidence katulad ng audit reports, bank accounts, at saka mga tax reports, no? Para sa mga publiko ay yes, importante yan, pero baka hindi ganun ka-performative o ka-dramatic para sa kanila. Gusto kasi nila nanonood ng Senate flicks. No? On that line, tingin nyo ba ay magpapatawag pa ng mga testigo ang prosecution? Dahil sabi kasi nila last week ay medyo pinag-aaralan pa nila kung sapat na itong documentary evidence na ito para dito sa article na ito at baka hindi na sila magpatawag ng mga testigo na magsasalita.
So, two quick points po. No? The first is completely agree yung importance of the court of public opinion. Idaragdag ko lang na unlike in past impeachments, no, 2001, 2012, iba yung social media landscape ngayon. For one, most of us now get our news on social media. Ibig sabihin nun, whereas impeachment before provided for an opportunity for the public to digest complicated financial information in a proper context and unspliced by, let's say, bloggers or spinning doctors, no, and social media, parang ngayon, ang dali kasi iwasan ng fact na pinag-usapan yung documents today by just focusing on some other aspect of the trial. So, an additional hurdle yan for all of us dealing with information arising from impeachment. But on the question of whether kailangan pa ba na may additional witness, I think hindi kailangan, but it certainly helps. No? Hindi kailangan in the sense na may ability yung lawyers to speak at the end of the presentation to explain kung ano yung importance ng documents na ito. But because of certain decisions dun sa process na ginawa ng impeachment court last week, notably yung prohibiting effectively yung opening statements that would parang frame the issues and the facts involved, na helpful sana yun sa publiko na hindi naman ganun kadali mag-digest nitong financial information. Mukhang makakatulong if may testigo na magpo-provide lang ng mga bagay na hindi pa natin alam, which is, one, may scheme ba, no? In order to avoid yung or to paikutin itong confidential funds. Pangalawa, may napuntahan ba ito na either ghost na tao or ghost employee or whatnot, no, na therefore ibig sabihin hindi pumunta ito dun sa proper recipient. So yung witness na may abilidad na magsabi nun would very much help. Now all of that said, important yung audit witnesses today and I think in the next few days kasi they can probably strike the balance between presenting another person and just simply relying on the documents. So nakita natin yan today. Yung witness today was asked questions, di ba, na important questions like, bakit ngayon mo lang inaudit ang Vice President? Ang ganda ng sagot na, kasi ngayon lang naman nagkaroon ng confidential funds.
Right.
Tapos tinanong siya na bakit irregular itong transaction na ito. Pinaliwanag niya talaga, di ba, na parang paano naman maintindihan, parang yung medicine, hindi enough yun para maintindihan kung ano talaga yung pinagastosan or gano'n na suggestions from the witness. I think yung more accurate na sinabi niya was na yung confidential, yung paggagamitan, hindi yung pupuntahan. No?
Yung
So, ibig sabihin, yung payee, hindi confidential yun. So, yung mga gano'n na bagay, in that sense, yung COA witnesses would be primed to do that. Less dramatic siya than what we envision of that 2001 Estrada impeachment na may mga, I was 1 foot away. Wala sigurong ganong moment for the confidential funds. Pero, kung hindi sila makakahanap ng witness, then I think the prosecution needs to make the most out of the testimony of the COA auditors.
Follow-up lang, attorney, no? Gusto ko na i-specify yung tinatanong ko kanina. Halimbawa, yung testimony halimbawa ni Madriaga na sinabi na siya yung bagman or one of the bagmen na nag-distribute nitong confidential fund. Yung testimony ni Colonel Lachica na never pa narinig kahit dito sa Quadcom na sa kanya binigay yung 125 million to be distributed. Hindi ba makakatulong yan to corroborate as well as dramatize yung article ng impeachment na ito?
I think it will. Kasi yun nga, it will provide for yung connecting the dots. No? Kasi, kung totoong regular court po ito, hindi po namin kailangan patunayan lahat ng bagay na nangyari. May allowed po to draw inferences from facts na napatunayan. Na for example, napakita na hindi totoo si Mary Grace Piatos. Enough na po siguro yon sa regular court para sabihin na nagkaroon ng pagwawaldas doon sa fund na involved. Pero doon po sa Court of Public Opinion, medyo kailangan ipahipo yun eh. Or ideally may witness na nagtatahi nun. So, si Madriaga among others, potentially kaya nilang gawin yun kasi sila yung magsusupply nung between the lines, di ba, na hindi, pumunta talaga yan sa ganitong tao na ito. Or hindi siya yung intended or legal beneficiary of this or valid beneficiary of the confidential funds. But meron din pong risks in calling those types of witnesses, especially witnesses that have been on the stand on the same issue before. Una, may record na po sila in public, which means na kung inconsistent yung statement nila, madaling po butasin yan via a prior inconsistent statement. So in Madriaga's case, nakailang testimony na po siya. I think testimony second na to at the very least kung magpapakita siya sa impeachment. So kailangan po i-weigh ng prosecution yung risk na yun. Kaya ba maging consistent itong testimony na to? Or will it open a can of worms in case hindi consistent yung testimony niya from before?
Bali sinasabi niyo, attorney, if ever po, ay hindi na po kinakailangan ng prosecution na patunayan kung saan napunta yung pera. Basta sabihin lang po nila, mapatunayan nila o ma-establish nila na meron talagang hindi properly unliquidated dun sa funds na kinuha or binigay kay Vice President.
Yes, I think in theory, hindi nila kailangan ipakita kung saan talaga pumunta. No? Pero yun nga, we have to remember na that might be compelling in a court case kung saan very trained yung judge and yung lawyers to basically checklist na na-meet ba itong element na ito, no, na patunayan ba itong element na ito ng offense, versus dun sa pinag-aawayan naman talaga sa impeachment, which is fitness, no? Fitness ng public officer.
Right.
Baka kasi mas mataas yung threshold ng public. Or kilalanin nila na, baka negligent lang si VP Sara. So kung ikaw yung prosecution, parang may burden ka kahit paano to show na hindi to basta-basta na mistake. Or parang hindi siya excusable negligence. And how do you prove that? Most likely by having corrupt intent. Kung kaya talaga nila magpakita na nagkaroon ng corrupt purpose behind the confidential funds.
Very
Yes,
similar
we're
sa nangyari,
monitoring
no?
the proceeding itself, ano? Nung nag-uumpisa tayo, sinabi mo, pati yung mga estudyante nyo, hindi ba? They are monitoring at medyo nakakatulog na yung mga tao. Ngayon, kumusta ngayon? Ito na yung 4th week na to, no? ng trial. What do you think of the proceedings? Saka, gising na ba kayo? Gising na yung mga estudyante nyo?
Look, honestly, much better po to than when it started. I think a lot really is owed to two changes. One is yung Senate exercising a lot more discipline in when to ask questions. And yung time limits. Ibig sabihin po nun, instead na nagiging opportunity for grandstanding, yung questioning ng senators, ay napipilitan sila to ask the most important points kasi limited lang ang oras nila. Siguro if meron na po tayo masuggest na point for improvement, baka po pwedeng wala ng second round, no? Kasi madami naman po dun sa second round questions ay naitanong na rin before. No? So
Yeah.
but just the suggestion. Yung isa pong major change is sa defense. So napansin po natin na hindi po sila as masigasig mag-object ngayon, which means mas malinaw yung kwento na naririnig natin from the witness. I think kita din na mas cooperative, mas cordial yung relationship nila ngayon with the prosecution in terms of the fact na, for example, they agreed to stipulate on a large number of documents, no, for today, which shows some hope na mapabilis yung process. So all of these are good signs. I think now ang task is, una, meron pa bang ways to make the process a little faster? Baka maganda po for the impeachment court to loosen up a bit on yung restriction niya about opening statements. Honestly, if you're dealing with these many documents and hindi po ganun kalaki yung oras natin and ang publiko na panoorin to araw-araw, maganda po sana kung mayroon pong summary from the prosecution and the defense when they present their case. No? Bakit ba mahalaga itong ebidensya or testigo na ipapakita? And I guess no, parang guarded lang na attitude towards over-legalizing the process. So maganda po siya the last 2 days at the very least, no? And hopefully things turn up for both sides naman po kasi nakikinabang din yung Vice President na pag siya naman po yung magpapakita ng ebidensya niya, mabibigyan din siya ng espasyo para maipakita yung defense niya ng maayos.
Well, Attorney, there are a lot of terminologies na naman po kanina no, during the hearing, and one of which is yung fiscal financial plan. Gaano po ba ka-importante ito pagdating po sa usapin ng, ng confidential fund?
Well, mahalaga po siya for two most important reasons. Yung first ay, yung PFP po, isa po yung sa requirements for liquidation. So kung may confidential funds po, pag tinignan niyo po yung budget circular, kailangan po maihain talaga yan. And second, a PFP, if properly prepared, specific enough po, without necessarily disclosing yung confidential information, but properly prepared po siya, doon po kasi binubunggo yung mga expenditures, disbursements, no, para malaman po natin kung valid yung pinakaunang tanong po ay, nasa PFP po ba ito? Allowed po ba siya ng PFP? So accountability mechanism kahit papaano yung PFP. And therefore, important not just to show, as the Vice President, I think, did, no, submit a PFP, but that yung PFP was properly prepared. Ibig sabihin po, no, hindi naman po parang nakalump sum lang lahat ng amounts doon na broad masyado yung purpose. Siguro may concern po kung sisira po ba yung confidentiality nito. Actually, hindi naman po kasi yung sa auditing po ng COA, if I'm not mistaken, yung PFP po is dealt confidentially. Along with all of the other confidential funds documents. So normally, hindi po sila dinidisclose sa publiko. Precisely kasi ang main audience po niya na yung auditor. But yung auditor cannot do his or her job competently to see whether mayroong expenses na unreasonable, excessive, etc. Kung hindi po niya alam kung ano talaga yung programa, kung yung programa ba na yun ay akma or pasok doon sa confidential funds and yung limited purpose na for surveillance operations, and kung yung amounts doon ay reasonable.
Right. Attorney, atras ako ng konti. You mentioned kanina, hindi kailangan pakita ng prosecution kung saan actually or sino tumanggap ng pera. Similarly, sa grave threats, hindi kailangan i-link nila yung actual assassin or yung hitman na hindi kailangan ipakita yon because the elements were proven. Pero hindi ba tila nakalimutan din ng prosecution na not all senator judges will vote according to evidence but also according to public opinion. So therefore, pag ganon, hindi ba dapat they had a smoking gun at the very least the way they structured their prosecution case?
Agree po. Kaya po hindi po actually madali yung pag-secure ng conviction in impeachment. No? We tend to downplay it na masyado namang informal yung mga scholar pag sinasabi nila na dapat wala ng standard of evidence or dapat hindi tayo masyadong legalistic. Actually, mas mahirap po yun. No? Mas mahirap po magpatunay ng kaso na hindi malinaw kung ano yung kailangan ko patunayan. But that is exactly what impeachment is as a political process. So kinikilala natin na kung ito nasa regular courts to, baka napatunayan na ng prosecution yung mga gusto nilang patunayan through the evidence that they have already presented. And therefore, they don't need to present certain witnesses na magtatali ng kwento. But tama ho kayo, yung audience po dito, yung Court of Public Opinion and Senator Judges na kailangan masway din po yung moral call or moral decision nila to convict for the Vice President. So, baka dapat hindi rin po relax masyado yung prosecution in terms of taking the easy way out na checking the elements lang as if it's a tick box.
Attorney, on a different note or notes, meron pa kasing dalawang nangyari last week na medyo very compelling din. Una ay yung pagbigay ng bail kay ex-Senator Bong Revilla sa isang non-bailable case. At very revealing yung statement ni Ombudsman Boying Remulla. Ang statement niya ay trinabaho. Alam naman natin kung anong ibig sabihin ng trinabaho. No? At sabi rin niya, ito ay isang wake-up call. No? So, from your vantage point, ay paano ba ito mag-unfold? Pwede ba itong i-appeal? May chance ba na ito ay ma-reverse? At panghuli, yung usapin ni Loren Legarda, medyo compelling din yon dahil ngayon ako nakakita ng plunder case na may involve yung conflict of interest, no, na isa siyang mahalagang aspeto. At medyo naiiba siya dahil yung iba kasi mga plunder cases, mas direct yung smoking gun. So, anong tingin nyo sa mga developments na ito? Lalo na ay kayo ay professor at saka dean ng UP Law School.
So, unahin ko po siguro yung sa usapin dun sa Sandigan Bayan grant ng bail. To be frank po, mahirap po kasi mag-question ng grant of bail. Yung prosecution would have to go up, in this case, to the Supreme Court, file the appropriate petition, which is Rule 65 petition, if I'm not mistaken. And all of those legalities aside, kailangan po ipakita na grave yung abuse ng discretion ng Sandigan Bayan. No? Yung vote po nila kasi ay 2-1 for yung grant of the bail. Well,
So medyo mahirap.
Hindi naman po tapos yung laban though, kasi bail pa lang po ito. Preliminary stage po siya. Yung actual po na presentasyon ng kaso, parating pa lang po. Ibig sabihin po nun, kung mahina yung evidence, kasi isa po sa mga requirements for granting bail in a capital offense like this is the evidence of guilt nung prosecution is not strong. No? Ibig sabihin nun, may preliminary determination yung Sandigan Bayan and based doon sa understanding ko of the ruling, na hindi kasi naipakita yung direct hand ni Senator Revilla in the transactions. Pero hindi po kasi yun ang test. Ang test po ay, meron pa hubang ibang pagkukuhanan. Like, may circumstances po ba which would show na central siya to the scheme that was going on. In any case, and without commenting dun sa ebidensya nila so far, hindi pa ho tapos. No? Meron pa hong presentation ng evidence, which means na wake-up call in the sense for the prosecution na kailangan nila magpresenta talaga ng malakas na ebidensya. But warning din po siya na baka may problema yung plunder laws natin ngayon or the way that it has been interpreted by the courts. Kasi bakit parang sobrang hirap patunayan ng something na sobrang obvious. No? Not saying na ito po yung kaso na yun, but ilang beses na po kasi na yun ang pinag-aawayan lagi. No? Na parang the elements of plunder are not met. Now,
Yan talaga
on
yung
the
Attorney,
second
hindi
question-
plunder yan eh. It's a malversation
Malversation.
Yeah.
So words
It's
pa ho. Kasi ibig
malversation.
sabihin nun,
Tapos ang sabi ng dalawang justice na
falsification.
bumoto, sabi nila, hindi daw
Apa.
public funds yan. Kaya hindi pwedeng na nanggaling daw sa private source yung pera. Kaya sabi nila, weak yung evidence. Hindi daw public fund. It's a malversation of public fund, pero hindi daw yan public fund. Ano po yung tingin nyo sa
Ito.
argumentong yon?
Delikado as a president.
standing corrected po doon, no? But hindi din po kasi excuse yun necessarily. Dahil po, kahit yung malversation involves public funds and should involve public funds, kung ang allegation po ay may scheme na involved, no? Then ibig sabihin po nun, kahit hindi po yun yung necessary na pumasok yung or hindi naman po yung si Senator Revilla may possession nung amounts na yun kasi nasa legislative po siya. Hindi po ibig sabihin na absuelto siya. Kasi kung ang allegation po ay mayroong scheme for this, then mukhang may plausible case pa rin po. But in any event, kung yung prosecution po, ang choices po nila ngayon ay either iaakit ito sa court or perhaps more productively, palakasin yung ebidensya, no, na meron sila at ipapakita nila sa korte. Para wala talagang doubt as to yung kaso if they're aiming for conviction. Doon naman po sa isa, na yung plan na ito pala ako. Doon sa plan din nung kay or yung investigation kay Senator Loren, ito po kasi yung isa sa misconception sa plunder. Hindi po siya pagnanakaw lang from the public funds, no? Kabilang din po doon, yung parang essentially isipin po natin siya as large-scale graft and corruption. Kaya nga po yung isa pa kong unusual kung babalikan yun na plunder charge a few weeks ago lang, yung kay Senator Marcoleta. Yung for supposedly receiving private funds from or private donations or contributions. So, ganun din po dito, no? Dapat maingat po tayo din sa pagbabasa natin ng batas sa plunder, even if parang counterintuitive siya minsan. But actually, large-scale graft po, pasok po siya normally dito sa plunder case. Now, whether kaya nila patunayan, whether may enough evidence to show na yung central nga din sa scheme, si Senator Loren, in relation, I think ito dun sa solar contracts, no? Parang remains to be seen kasi wala pa ho tayong nakikita so far na ebidensya at least.
Alright, sige, maraming salamat po. Thank you for talking to us, Attorney Paulo Tamase, Constitutional Law Professor from the UP College of Law. Thank you.
Salamat, Attorney.
Maraming salamat din
Thank you,
po.
Attorney.
All right, you're watching Storycon on One News. We just need to take a break. We'll be right back.
This is the Story Conference Group or the Storycon Group.
All right, we've got developing news and the stories behind the headlines. Welcome back to Storycon, the Story Conference. I'm Diego Castro.
I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro, still with us. Ami Pamintuan of the Philippine Star. And of course, Ronald Llamas, political heckler.
/genius.
Ronald Dalai Llamas. Di kanina sinasabi ni Attorney Tamase, no, yung nabanggit niya yung salitang negligence. Sa tingin mo ba, Sec Ronald, na bakit sa tingin mo hindi to malima ang Office of the Vice President sa guidelines ng COA? Is this lack of knowledge of the process o feeling niya, OVP naman ako, hindi naman ako masisilipan?
Mas yung kalawa.
Talaga.
It's about impunity. It's about entitlement.
Ayun.
Hindi lang ako simpleng vice president. Nung nangyari yan noon, may unit team pa. Binigay ang confidential fund.
Yes.
So, kala niya absolute yung power.
Kalawa, Duterte siya.
Oo.
Diba? May ganung sense of untouchability yung mga Duterte. Until nadala sa ICC si Digong.
Ayun.
No?
So sa tingin mo ba, kaya siya binigyan ng, kasi sabi nila, very uncommon for a vice president magkaroon ng confidential funds, let alone the Department of Education. So sa tingin mo ba, kaya siya binigyan ng confidential funds because hindi na ibigay sa kanya yung pinangako daw na DND position?
Posible. Pero binigay sa kanya yan dahil hiningi niya. Yung iba kasing vice president, hindi naman humihingi.
Wala nga budget, di ba? Si Vice Lenny
Pagka
Robredo.
hihingi, hindi mo naman trabaho yun.
Oo nga.
Hindi mo naman
Di ba supposedly spare tire ang...
counterintelligence, no? So from the very start, yung mga iba, at least si Binay at si Lenny, parang hindi nila ma-imagine na yung Office of the Vice President ay kailangan ng confidential at saka intelligence
Tumatawa ka.
fund. Oo. Ito kasi hiningi.
Oo.
No, hiningi. Siyempre, dahil magkakasama pa kayo sa unit team, parang alangan naman na hindi mo ibinigay.
Oo.
No?
Eh, hindi na nga naibigay yung DND.
So by nature, saan kailangan ng isang vice-presidente or DepEd secretary ang confidential funds? Saan mo gagamitin yan?
Tanong natin sa kanya. Dahil yung DepEd nga, hindi ko alam eh. Saan
Ronald,
gagamitin
you're
yun?
speaking of a court of public opinion eh. Ang sinasabi ng kampo ni BP, bakit kami binigyan ng Malacanang?
Oo.
Tapos
Kasi
tinuturo
hindi
nila, bakit ang Malacanang meron ding confidential fund? Mas malaki pa.
Presidente.
Anong
Yes.
tingin mong dating nun naman sa
Hindi,
mga tao?
dalawang magkaibang issue yan eh. No, dalawang magkaibang issue. Yung sa BP, dati kasi wala eh. No, dahil hindi nga sila humihingi. Dito, binigyan siya, nag-request siya eh. May letter of request siya eh. No? Pinakita na dati yung kanyang letter. May official request siya na bigyan siya ng intelligence fund. No? Kaya nabigyan siya. Actually,
Confidential.
last minute yun eh, di ba? December yun eh.
Confidential fund.
Di ba? December yung
Yeah.
binigay na yan eh. No?
Pasko eh.
Ikalawa, hindi ko alam. Dati pa namin binabanatan yung confidential fund na malaki ni Digong.
Oo.
Paano yung confidential fund niya dati? 10 billion eh. Laki, lumobo, di ba? Kaya siguro sinundan din ni BBM yon, no? Na yung presidente may ganung kalaking confidential fund.
Oo.
Oo.
Pero
Kaya yun posible yung sagot ni BBM. Na hindi naman bago na yung presidente may confidential fund. Ang bago ay yung vice president.
Oo.
Pero yun ang sasabihin niya, bakit ikaw lang? Sinasabi ko lang yung ganyan yung mga argumento
Yes,
dyan
that's
sa
true.
kampo eh.
That's
Sa kampong
true.
yan.
Yung
Bakit
president-
kami lang ang ginaganyan nyo? Kayo
Yung
meron
about
din.
tism.
Ganun yung argument nila eh. How do you address that,
yung nature
that
kasi
argument?
yung nature ng confidential fund sa presidente ay dati lang na-justify yan eh. Dahil halo-halo yan eh. Pati disaster, no, pati
Emergency, yeah.
emergency,
National
etc.
security.
Dahil ikaw yung sa dulo, the buck stops with you, talagang binibigyan ng confidential fund yung presidente. Not necessarily for spy versus spy. Not necessarily for safe houses. Not for, di ba? Not for,
Tables
kwan yan
and
yung,
Tables and
tawag yan,
chairs.
Furniture.
Furniture.
hindi, yung pambayad sa mga mga rewards.
Rewards.
No, mga rewards. Hindi yan pang ganun eh. Mas yung panggamit dyan ng presidente, emergency. Yun ang nature ng confidential at saka intelligence fund dati ng presidente. Alam ko, yung kay Digong, ginamit din niya sa Tokhang eh. No?
But even if you are president, you are also subjected to such accountability. Like
Yes.
itong sinasabi nila na, like kasi ang defense lagi na sinasabi, allowed naman ng magkaroon ng aliases or code names under intelligence operation. Pero sinasabi po nila na under the circular, di ba, joint circular ng DBM and COA,
2015.
dapat meron kang nakalagay dun parang sa envelope yung mga aliases mo and the proper names of those aliases, which is yung parang wala. No,
Yung tinatawag ng
OVP.
second layer. Parang
Oo. So ang presidente ba, kailangan may ganun din?
Yes, yes. Oo. Hindi naman total confidentiality eh.
Oo.
No? Ibig sabihin pera pa rin ng bayan.
Bayan,
yan eh. Kaya
totoo.
kailangan mo pa rin paliwanag. Actually, kailangan mo ng plano.
Yes,
Yes,
yun nga yung
yun
physical
plan.
financial plan.
Oo, bibigay mo rin yun. No? Para saan mo gagamitin.
So, hindi pwedeng
Tapos in broad strokes, mas maluwag yan kesa dun sa usual na auditing rules, di ba? Pero meron pa rin. Meron pa rin. Yun nga yung sinasabi ni Heidi Mendoza.
Oh,
So you cannot
Hindi naman
parang
daw
hide
kailangan
from that
ng
mantle.
Hindi daw kailangan ng Ozempic kasi ni Presidente. Payat na siya eh.
Alright, sige. Bago pa tayo pumunta kung sa argument, let's bring in our next guest. We have Attorney Benjamin Tolosa Jr., legal spokesperson of the House Prosecution Team. Good morning, Attorney. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Angela,
Good afternoon.
Diego,
Good afternoon.
Ronald,
Aga mo
and,
naman.
Sammy. Good afternoon.
Sabi ko pa, good afternoon pala. Sanay kasi ako sa
Sanay
good
kasi, sanay
morning.
sa ibang show.
Sanay sa morning,
Morning
Attorney.
matters.
Morning matters to.
Yes, the interview namin usually ni Miss Angela mornings eh.
Yes, opo. Well, Attorney, what do you think about Attorney Lorna Capunan's presentation earlier? And at this point in the trial, has the prosecution already established that the OVP's confidential funds were properly liquidated?
Well, first of all, we will not establish that they properly liquidated their use of the confidential funds.
We're not
Sa amin,
properly.
it's
We're
converse.
not.
But ayaw natin hong pangunahan kung ano yung magiging assessment ng impeachment court dito. At the end of the day, we will present our evidence and it's the impeachment court who will make that determination. But what we can say is so far, we've already established three witnesses that we've presented. No? Una, last week, na-present na natin yung witnesses natin from the Land Bank who testified already that these funds were withdrawn in cash by the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. So 500 million, half a billion for Office of the Vice President and 112 plus million from DepEd. Ngayon naman, doon sa testimony ni Attorney Roderick Wamil, who used to be part of the ICPAO, of the COA. Ito ho yung mismong opisina or departamento ng COA na nangangasiwa dito sa liquidation ng confidential funds. So, maliwanag na dito na sinabi niya, based on the documents presented by both the Office of the Vice President and the DepEd, na nandito yung mismong pirma, approval ng Vice Presidente. So maliwanag ang paggamit at pag-liquidate nitong confidential funds nito. May direct participation dito ang Vice Presidente. Tapos doon sa testimonya niya kanina, although hindi pa tatapos, so far from what he was able to cover, nandun pa lang ho tayo sa 125 million na for the last quarter of 2022. In fact, sabi nga niya, dapat yan for 1 quarter. So October to December 2022 yan. Pero based on the documents presented by the OVP itself, ano lang ho ito, 11 days lang, inubos ang 125 million pesos. So, madami siyang mga na-point out kanina na mga bagay, tulad ng madami sa acknowledgement receipts na sinubmit nila to support this. Ang date ho ay 2023, December 2023. Kung isa o dalawang beses lang yung pagkakamali na yan, pwedeng palagpasin, sabihin na typographical error, pero napakadami, which raises the question. Normal ba ito considering supposedly December yan sinasubmit? Normal ba na magkakamali ka yung succeeding year na yung ilalagay mo? So may mga question na importante na kailangan masagot. Tapos sinabi din ho kanina ni Attorney Wamil na kulang yung mga detalye sa mga liquidation reports na sinumite ng Office of the Vice President dahil importante ho yung details na yan so that the COA will see if these funds were used for the very specific and exclusive list of purposes allowed under the joint circular. Dahil specific use lang ho yan na pwedeng paggamitan. At sabi din niya, tulad ho dun sa mga acknowledgement receipt na nakita na natin dyan, yung dati pang hinihintay ho, yung kay Mary Grace Piatros, tulad ho doon, napakita din na sabi niya ng witness, nakalagay dyan, ginamit siya for payment of reward, tapos ang nakalagay ay medicine, Una, it raises the question, normal ba yan ang ibabayad mo, na reward sa isang informant, medicine? Tapos, pangalawa, kung diyan nga talaga ang pinagamitan ng pera, tulad ng sabi niya, nasa ng official receipts, nasa ng sales invoices, dahil walang sinumite ang Office of the Vice President.
Attorney, ito natanong na rin namin kanina. At last week kasi, yung dalawang membro ng prosecution, natanong namin na ano ba ang aasahan dito sa article na ito, na after nung grave threats article, At nakita naman natin today na ang focus ay documentary evidence mula sa tax records, audit reports, at saka bank accounts, yung kahon-kahon ng ebidensya. Pero yung tanong kasi namin ay, kayo ba ay may plano na mag-present ng mga testigo katulad nung pinresent nyo dun sa Justice Committee sa House, katulad ni Madriaga, or somebody na important pero hindi pa na-present kahit saan? Kahit dun sa Quadcom, kahit sa Justice Committee, yung nagdala allegedly ng pera, nag-distribute si Colonel La Chica. Dahil ang sabi nung dalawang prosecution na nakausap namin ay wala pa daw kayong desisyon na mag-present ng ganong klaseng mga testigo at baka sapat na yung documentary evidence para sa article na ito. Hanggang ngayon ba, yun pa rin ang inyong posisyon?
Well, Sir Ronald, no, I hope you understand. At this point, ang kaya ko lang unang ilahad ay yung formally identities of witnesses that we've identified already, we've informed the court of. So sa ngayon, ang palatag for this week yung dalawang representatives from COA ICFAO office, no, and pati yung dun sa Archives Division ng House of Representatives. As to the other witnesses that we'll be presenting, no, I hope you understand, I can't mention them at this time, no. But what I can say is siguraduhin namin kung sino man yung mga testigo na pepresenta natin dito sa confidential funds. Ma-cover natin lahat ng mga importanteng bagay na yan, no? Dahil ang kailangan naman pakita dito is titignan natin, no, yung naging trail nitong confidential funds na ito. So these are public funds. Maliwanag na request ito ng Vice Presidente. Maliwanag na binigay ito sa dalawang opisina ng Vice Presidente. So ngayon, ang Vice Presidente, no, sila ang merong pananagutan sa public funds na ito. So kailangan nilang mapatunayan na ginamit ito sa tamang pamamaraan, no? So dapat at na-liquidate ito sa tamang pamamaraan. So ngayon, dito na tayo dun sa mga ICFAO representatives para mapaliwanag sa atin ano ba ang liquidation process, no? At ano ang ginawa nila. So meron naging problema. Ano itong mga problema na ito? Anong mga pagkakamali na ito? So while I cannot disclose their identities, but what I can tell you is we'll make sure, no, mabibigay natin yung complete na picture pagdating dito sa usapin din ng confidential funds.
I understand, Attorney. Kaya pakisend na lang sa Viber ni Angela. Tapos hindi namin ikakalat, promise.
Ako na naman. well, oo. Attorney, si former State Auditor Ramil Wamil noticed po that there are dates that fell outside the disbursement dates, no? Para lang po mas maliwanag po sa publiko, ano po ba yun? Bakit po ba mahalaga na hindi within the specific date lang yung sa confidential funds kapag nagre-reimburse?
So ang natakil ho kanina specifically, yung hiningi at ginamit na confidential funds for the last quarter of 2022, no, Office of the Vice President, 125 million to. But in fact, based on the reports na sinubmit nila, nagamit ito within 11 days, no, December 2022 onwards hanggang natapos ang taon na yon, no. So naturally, pag nag-liquidate ka, papakita mo, kailangan mong justify paano nyo inubos ang 125 million sa loob ng 11 days na yan. Ngayon, nung nag-liquidate na sila, sa mga sinubmit nila ng mga dokumento sa COA, yung mga acknowledgement receipts, madami dyan. Ang date ay 2023. No? So, paano nangyari kung supposedly ginamit itong pera na to yung December 20 hanggang December 31, 2022. Pero ang mga acknowledgement receipts, ang date ay 2023. So yun yung point na sinasabi niyang it's outside the period. Kasi supposedly, pinapatunayan mo sa COA kung paano mo ginamit ito, no? Nung December 20 to December 31, 2022. Pero itong pagpapatunay mo kung paano mo ginamit, more than 1 year after ang date niya, no? Yun ang date ng acknowledgement receipt. So ibig sabihin, kung sino mang pumirma nun, parang sinasabi nila na tanggap nila ito December 2023. So, at yan yung sinasabi ko din kanina, di bali sana kung isang beses lang yan, no? Na pagkakamali, pwede yung sabihin, typo. Pero tulad ng sinabi ng witness kanina, si Attorney Mobile, napakadaming beses yan na nangyari.
It shows irregularities.
Attorney, yung stipulation ng documents kanina, sabi nila mapapabilis yung procedure. Mapapabilis nga ba on this article?
Yes.
Kahit mga one day, medyo mabilis na yun eh.
Yes. Actually, we were requesting, the other party to stipulate on these documents. Doon pa lang sa preliminary conference, no? Para maiwasan sana. Kanina, makita natin mga 1 oras yung recess, dahil nga doon lang tayo nagko-compare ng documents. Pero nung preliminary conference, hinihingi na natin to dahil these are common exhibits. In fact, they're common because they're documents submitted by the OVP and the DepEd to the COA. Sa kanila nang galing to. Pero hindi sila mag-agree to enter into any stipulations, nung panahon na yon. Kaya kanina nangyari. Ngayon, at least, no, we're still thankful na nag-agree sila. So, imbes na isa-isahin pa yun kanina, no, medyo napadali. Although, madami pa rin. Sabi nga, dun sa acknowledgement receipts, 800 documents pa yan.
45.
Na, yes, 845, thank you, to be exact, na hindi sila nag-agree. Again, despite the fact that this came from them. So, it would have been ideal, no, na kung nag-agree na sila dyan, although, sabi nga ng presiding officer, we can force them to stipulate. No? But of course, I'm sure this will still be, we'll leave it to the discretion of the individual Senate members who how they'll take it. No? Kung tulad no? Of course, we can't be forced to stipulate, but of course, you still have to be reasonable. No?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Of course, yung iba pa sa mga pinag-usapan dyan, of course, yung isa sa noticeable is that yung tanong po natin dito ever since, why does the Office of the Vice President have confidential funds, no? Let alone also the Department of Education. So, ang sagot po doon ng inyong witness ay this is the first time nga daw po na sila ay nakapag-audit. Can you elaborate on that po?
Tama ho yun. Sabi nga ho niya, since 2014, no, nandyan na si Attorney Wamil sa COA ICPAO, but both sa Office of the Vice President and lalong-lalo naman na sa Department of Education, no, sa kanyang personal na experience, first time siya nakakita na merong confidential funds itong dalawang opisina na to. So, I think it's because precisely, because of that reason, that there's all the more the need that the Vice President should explain where these funds went, no? Para saan sila ginamit. Talaga bang, dahil tulad ng sinabi ng witness kanina, mayroong very specific purpose lang yan, kung saan mo yan pwedeng gamitin. Kung ginamit yan ng reward, payment of information, no? Hindi siya pwedeng, for example, general expense lang, no, sa kanilang opisina. Hindi yan pwede. So, talagang yung burden dito sa office ng Vice President DepEd, talagang mabigat talaga yan. And nakalagay nga sa rules, they will have to be followed strictly, itong rules of procedure nito sa liquidation. So talagang nasa kanila yan yung burden para pakita nila na nagamit talaga sa tamang paraan at para sa tamang paraan, sinundan ng tamang proseso itong confidential funds na to.
Right.
A quick answer lang, Attorney. Lumabas kasi yung Okta survey na sinasabi na 28% ng mga tao, ang concern nila ay yung confidential fund article of impeachment at 10% lang yung concern doon sa grave threats at 43% yung pinakamalaki doon sa bribery article. Ano bang reaction nyo dyan sa mga ganyang klaseng feedback from the court of public opinion?
Well, una-una, hindi ho clear, at least for me, no, sa akin, kung tinanong sila doon when they were talking about bribery, yan yung pinakamalaki, were they talking about specifically doon sa bribery sa issue na to o in general, mas familiar sila sa kaso na bribery, no? But at any rate, sa amin, ang focus naman namin hindi nakatuon lang sa isang particular na article of impeachment, no? Ang focus namin, the intention namin, lahat ng articles of impeachment, maglalatag kami ng malakas na ebidensya para mapatunayan namin lahat yan, no? And although, tulad nga ho ng nasabi nyo kanina, no, si Ronald, mukhang compared dun sa ibang articles, parang mababa yung nandun sa usapin ng unexplained good, for example, no? Pero, tulad na lagi kong din hong sinasabi, bigyan muna natin ng pagkakataon ng prosecution na malatag ang ebidensya namin paukol dito. And to be clear, kahit yung depensa, kung meron silang ebidensya malalatag. Pagkatapos, doon natin alamin ano ang pag-opinion at paghuhatol ng mga kababayan natin tungkol dito. Dahil naniniwala ko kami, for example, magbabago ko yan pag nakita nandito na sa impeachment court, ito napakahalagang financial documents, no? And kapag nabigyan kami ng pagkakataon na mapresenta tong mga dokumento na to, umaasa kami na magbabago opinion ng mga kababayan natin dyan. No? Dahil itong mga bank records don't lie. No? Hindi na ho pwedeng maspin yan at sabihin gawa-gawa lang ng prosecution, ng gobyerno, itong mga usapin ng unexplained wealth ng Vice Presidente. Kung nakita na, napakaklaro, these are from bank records para makita natin yung totoong kabuong yaman niya.
Okay, well, tomorrow is another day for us, for you guys sa impeachment court. But thank you so much for joining here in StoryCon, Attorney Benjamin Tolosa Jr., legal spokesperson of the House Prosecution Team. Antayin ko po, baka may iba-viber po kayo ng mga new witnesses.
Salamat, Attorney.
Maraming
Thank you,
salamat
Attorney.
po.
Ano niyo ba si Professor Benji Tolosa?
Maraming salamat din ho sa pagkakataon. Magandang hapon ulit sa inyo. No relation.
Okay. No relation. Alright, thank you po. Alright, thank you also for joining us today. Ami Pamintuan, Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Of course, Ronald Llamas, our resident political pundit.
/ genius.
Dalai Llamas.
Dalai Llamas the genius daw.
Pahamak ako ni
of course.
Jess. Dami na
Maraming
naman babalat sa
salamat
akin.
po. Oo. Okay, StoryCon is back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thanks for watching. I'm Angela Lagunsad Castro.
I'm Diego Castro. Kapatid, we are One Youth, your side all the time.
Hindi ko
This is the Story